Well, the 7 Mile Bridge is pretty busy this evening, as you guys can see right here behind me by the cars going by. There is one day in April where all of the traffic just stops, and that day is for the annual 7 Mile Bridge Run, where 1,500 runners gather to take off and try to make it 7 miles across this bridge and beat that bus. Today we'll follow the journey of many people who have made this happen in our community, all the money it's raised for Marathon High School sports, and see some of the fun things that have happened over the years, the past 40 some years of things that have happened on this bridge.
Comes and goes just like the sun. In and out, it's always fun. Once a year she's here to run. For 7 miles we move as one. Love all night and laugh all day.
My name is Frida Bluebell, and I was born in Dayton, Ohio. I moved to Marathon a few years ago. As you can probably tell by my name, I was kind of picked on when I was in school. Frida Bluebell. I was always the heavyset girl in class. I wasn't good at sports. I was always the last one picked for any group activity at recess. Actually, I used to always count how many kids were participating in games outside, and if it was an odd number, I knew that I didn't have to participate. Kind of sad, really, if you look back on it. But I decided, when I heard about this 7 Mile Bridge race, I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to train for this race. I'm going to finally be good at something in the sports world. And I started training that day, and I've been really working hard at it.
I'll always remember the night, the big party at the very top of the 7 Mile Bridge, what they call the hump. All the dignitaries were there, and all the folks from the Lower Keys Chamber of Commerce and the Marathon Chamber of Commerce got together. Big celebration on top of the bridge. Dante Fascell was there. It was really pretty amazing the way it worked out. And part of the celebration was the idea of, let's run across the new bridge. And everybody said, yeah, that'd be great. What a great way, a big part of the party. And people got involved and set it all up. And I believe we had about 500 runners. There was no urgency either, because traffic was still rolling on the old 7 Mile Bridge. So the new bridge, there was really no urgency to get it open or closed or anything like that. So it was like a one-time affair. That's what everybody figured would happen. We had about 500 runners, and they all enjoyed it so much. At the end, they said, let's do this again next year. And that was how it started. And it's been like that way for, this is the 40th running this year.
And welcome back to the running of the 7 Mile Bridge Run. Beautiful day today here. We are on the US 1 Radio pace car here, reporting live from the 7 Mile Bridge Run. We got a pack of runners right up front. It looks like a bunch of local kids there from Marathon High School. We have Jonathan and Owen Pitchford. We also have Aiden Child, a past winner of the 7 Mile Bridge Run. And it looks like among that pack of leaders right now, Frida Bluebell. That's interesting, because Frida last year got picked up by the bus, as best we know. Wait a minute, let me see. Oh, I got that number wrong. Yeah, I'm afraid that is not Frida Bluebell. That is Laura DiBella, one of the past winners. Can't see Frida. Looks like she's probably well back in the pack. Hope she beats the bus this year. We're live at the 7 Mile Bridge Run here on US 1 Radio.
My name is Mary Lynn Britz. This is my husband, Joe Britz, and my dear friend and longtime partner, Terry Cassidy.
Hello. I think this goes all the way back. The people that established the run were a little. This is a little bit different. This goes with our judge Dolezal.
Yeah.
We played at a party at his house on Duck Key.
Yeah, we did.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And he was, I think, responsible for making the first phone call to us to go ahead and entertain when they cut the ribbon. We had some, maybe Danny Fussell
Danny Fussell was there.
Was a politician in there then.
He was there.
And we were invited. We played in the meantime for Chamber of Commerce events, and it wasn't hard for them to agree upon us. So I think that's the way it started. And it was pretty loose as far as they bust everybody out there, and we set up and played some tunes for them, and people danced. That's a different story. You guys go ahead and share a little bit.
All right. Actually, like Joe said, we just pretty much got the phone call that there was going to be a big party on the new bridge the night before they opened it up, and fortunately they called it Key Lime Pie Band, and we actually played right on the hump of the bridge that evening, and all the elites, all the big important VIPs were there. They came in by helicopter, they came in by shuttle, and we had ourselves a serious dancing, partying all night long up there on that bridge. Well, I don't think we really know, do we?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because we're thinking 83 it started. You said it started in 82.
The dedication of the bridge was May 22nd of 1981. No, 1982. Of 1982, and then the first bridge run was in 1983, in April of 1983. So, you know, that's the most that I can remember because I've got paper, newspaper.
And then after the bridge got finished, we have to come up with something to really show it off, okay? And Majda Marine did the contracting, and they put together several days of events. And one of the big events that they had was, of course, on the hump of the bridge, you can see behind me, is where they did a barbecue. And a lot of the dignitaries, the governor, and a whole bunch of other people were invited. And they came down, and Harold Wagner from Jim's LP Gas was the chef with his equipment. And what a barbecue. It was well attended, and people had a good time, and speeches were made out on the bridge, and just going over the whole project of what took place for all those years. And then after that, after the party was over, and they got everybody off the bridge, the race followed thereafter in the same event of days before they closed down the old bridge.
Tricia and my father were one of the two founding members of the 7 Mile Bridge Run. It started as a commemoration for the new bridge. The old 7 Mile was still open when we ran the first race in 1982. This year is our 40th anniversary. Our parents always did the finish line, and as they came into retirement, Trish and I took over the duties, so there's been our family members at the finish line for all 40 years.
In 1982, with the opening of the bridge, after a big party the night before on the bridge, Ginger got in touch with me, and we took a bunch of kids and took part in the race. And I think that's how Ginger got involved too. I'm not quite sure, but that's how the first race was. And I was not involved as a volunteer in helping out, basically just doing the run. And we made it, but the kids were more interested in looking at the fish below. But anyway, they had a lot of fun, of course, and we all did.
I heard that there's a bus that comes. So if you don't make it, you have to get on the bus to go back. My goal is to beat that bus. I do not want to take the bus back. I want to finish the entire race. That's my goal, and I'm working hard every day to achieve that goal.
One year they held a raffle to benefit the Runners Club in Marathon, and they sold $5 tickets to try to win a quilt that was made up of all 20 of the t-shirts up to that point, all 20 years of the Runners t-shirts. And it was made into a beautiful quilt. And they sold tickets for $5 each, and they had a table set up, and on the way in, I bought a ticket. Well, anyway, at the awards ceremony, final thing was the awarding of the raffle winner. And they said, Bill, and I give out the awards each year. I'm on the microphone there, and I gave out the awards. They said, Bill, pick a ticket. So I reach in. I said, somebody else better read this. It was my name. I picked out my own name from there. And it's a beautiful quilt.
Hi, I'm Andy Newman. I'm the Media Relations Director for the Monroe County Tourist Development Council. We cover a lot of events in the Florida Keys, and I've been fortunate that I've been covering the 7 Mile Bridge Run since its very first year in 1982. It's a tremendous event. It's an iconic event for the Florida Keys, no doubt, and it's an iconic event for Marathon. They had 2,000 entrants that very first bridge run, and it was so successful, folks in Marathon said, gosh, this is a great event. It will be a great annual event. And so there was another organizing committee that was on. The Marathon Runners Club was called in. And so the run has been staged almost every year since then. There is no doubt it is one of the most popular running events in at least the Southeast United States, maybe the United States, to be honest with you. And quite honestly, it's just tremendous. Where else can you run over the convergence of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico? There is no place.
I'm trying to remember the first year I actually played the 7 Mile Bridge Run, and my friend, another local musician, Roy McAdams, begged me to come out and play with him that year. So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drag some gear and a guitar out and play it with him. And it was at the end of that show, he said, those gigs are now yours from now on. And so he bowed out. I played them and has started sometime, I think, in the 1980s. And every morning in April for the 7 Mile Bridge Run, whenever that would be, I'd get up in an ungodly hour, chug down some coffee and head out, set up a PA system and play music until when the runners got back and until the awards ceremony.
So, I am finally ready. The training's done, the hard work, I've put in the hard work. I'm not going to win, let's face it. I'm not going to win in any category. I probably will be the last straggler going, but I'm going to beat the bus.
My name is Zoltan Polgar. I'm with Agency 44. Got involved in a bridge run about 15 years ago. When I first started the agency, I was looking for really an excuse to come down to the Keys, right, and get some work. And I was looking for some unique events to bring some partners and some marketing opportunities too. And I stumbled across the 7 Mile Bridge Run. Some of the partners that we ended up talking with were Publix supermarkets, right? They came on board 15 years ago, and I think every year since they've provided the medals for all the finishers. So it's a big project for us to work with not only the group at the 7 Mile Bridge Run to get that that logo, that iconic logo every year, try to make that into the medal and create that ribbon for them. And Publix is very proud to be a part of this signature Keys event.
Hi, my name is Arthur Sarakis. I live in Pompano Beach, Florida. I'm almost 75 years old, and I've run all 47 Mile Bridge Runs from the very beginning. That was probably the second or third year of the bridge run, and I know it because in '86 I opened up a running store, and from that time on I had to wear a store singlet. This is the first time I was running without a singlet on, so that was probably '83 or '84. How we used to find out when we were in, we used to give them postcards, and they used to send us a postcard saying you're in. I used the number for about 20 years. For about 20 years when I was really competitive. I won the age group I think 4 or 5 times. I always used the number 34, and they always gave me the number 34. One year the women's numbers were 34 and the men's were 1,034. So I searched the girl down who had number 34. She gave me her number and signed it, and I framed it.
one of the things that was kind of neat, I happened to be, I guess, at the right place at the right time. And I was in Mr. Billy Wagner, who was our, at that time, Civil Defense Director. We've been working together in the county. He got the position, and he was driving his vehicle. And Rick Roth at the time was with law enforcement. Wasn't the sheriff then, but he was with law enforcement. And passenger side of the car, and I was in the back seat. And so we were over on the side over there, and they went ahead and had the ceremony of directing the traffic to come back out onto the new bridge, and then at the time, and then closing off the road to go to the old bridge. And so everybody was going across the old bridge, and it was kind of funny. And we get to the end of the bridge, and lo and behold, there was a ceremony at the end to finally close off the whole bridge and everything. And DOT comes up and they said, "Mr. Pietro, you've made history." And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, you're in the last vehicle that has crossed the old 7 Mile Bridge, and because you were in the back seat, you are now the last person to cross the old 7 Mile Bridge." And I said, "Oh my goodness gracious." And they gave me a little plaque that said, last person to cross the old 7 Mile Bridge before they closed it. And it was kind of interesting because I was in the back seat.
And at that time, there were a group of us, myself, Tom Wright, Jim Keeney, that had already formed what was then called the Marathon Runners Club, because they ran a 10K race in Key West every year. And so we would all get together and go down there, and Tom Sayer, and run in that race. So we already had a little running group. So Martin says, "Dennis, why don't your runners club run a marathon to commemorate the opening of the bridge?" And I said, "Well, Bill, a marathon's pretty long." I said, "It's pretty much would be the whole Keys." I said, "But we could do a 10K, because the 7 Mile, 10K is almost 7 miles, or it's a little bit short of 7 miles. And he said, "Okay, we'll see what you can do." So that is how the idea of having a race it commemorated the opening of the 7 Mile Bridge.
I'm really working on my training. I'm really working hard, but I'm still just finding all of this such a struggle. So some of my friends were telling me to talk with Adrienne C., because she is, number one, a fantastic entertainer, but number two, has great advice.
Hey!
Hi, Adrienne.
Yes.
It's Frida.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet
Come on
you.
in.
Thank you so much.
Come into my studio.
Great. Well, everyone has been telling me to come to you for advice.
Wow, that's cool to hear.
Yeah. Well, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm getting ready to run the 7 Mile Bridge run, and I'm struggling. I feel like I'm losing my nerve. I feel like I'm losing my drive. I don't know. I just really need something to help keep me going.
It reminds me of a movie I saw when I was younger.
Okay.
I remember just really being blown away by the energy that this girl had who was running in a race, and she would just think about this song that had a really good rhythm to keep her going.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea. Do you have any suggestions?
Gosh, I mean, because you have to really think about a song that's going to be right for the actual,
yeah, for the run.
Yeah, for the timing of it and the kind of like tempo that would work for it.
Right.
But let me see. I have this song came to mind because I had the song, the words "dancing shoes" in this song.
Okay.
So I'll play you the chorus and you see what you think.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
When the day is through, wearing dancing shoes all of the day and night, dancing in the rain. There is sun again, rainbows in the moonlight.
I love it. That's beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect.
When the day is through, wearing dancing shoes all of the day and night. There is sun again, rainbows in the moonlight. When the day is through, wearing dancing shoes all of the day and night.
I got it.
so much. See you later.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to do great.
Thank you.
The 7 Mile Bridge Run is a great opportunity. Marathon is full of volunteers, and it takes a whole entire village to run this 7 Mile Bridge. I know that Ginger and Bobby and Denise in the past, and Dennis, they all contributed to making this a great event. And it's for a great cause. It's for the students, the kids of Marathon, and you know, I don't think we'd have an athletic program at the high school the way we do if we didn't have the 7 Mile Bridge Run financing it. They coordinate with the Sheriff's Department, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. The Florida Keys Electric Co-op donates their boom truck. And in the past, they've flown the big American flag at the beginning. This year, because we're running it backwards or in reverse, the boom truck and the American flag, the runners will be able to see it at the finish line as they come over the hump, and as they cross the finish line, that big American flag will be flying over the finish line.
So she did. She gave me some great advice. She also gave me a song to sing along and hit that beat with my footsteps. Nice. And that way I can come up with the perfect pace for me. And I'm going to beat that bus with my dancing shoes on. Thanks, Adrian. Yo, Adrian! I did it!
I was fortunate enough to have moved here at the end of 1980 into Marathon. And 2 years later, after the construction of the 7 Mile Bridge, they had a dedication run. I was 35 years old, as I mentioned, and also I was in good running shape at that time, so I did. I was able to run the very first one. I ran it in 49 minutes and 49 seconds. It was stated that it was only a 10K, but it seems to me it was a full 7 miles. And that was, it was wonderful. And as we moved on, I ran one more, the 6th one. However, in between it was working at the watering stations and then doing the photography for most of the races.
So at the beginning, here I go, raring to go. I get up bright and early, and I decided that I'm gonna start off each day with raw eggs. It worked for Rocky, it's gonna work for me. They don't taste that great, but I'm gonna do it. Raring to go, ready to do it, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and here I go.
The 7 Mile Bridge Run was in '82, and I I volunteered the second year, which is '83, with a friend of mine, Paul Reagan. There was about 5 of us that year. We had fun, handed out water. So one year, we had a piece of cardboard, and we had a boombox playing music, and we're dancing and handing out water. Everybody seems to enjoy that. And we put on the sign, make a little sign, said, "Over the hump." And the news helicopter that was going over caught that and put it in the Miami Herald. And that was the start of the Over the Hump gang. What I would do is get the t-shirts in the morning, go to the printer, and have Over the Hump gang printed on them. And that's how that is. So everybody wants a piece of the action. So everybody wants to be on our team. So we'll have like 25, 30 people, up even more than that, from everywhere. This is Paul Reagan, original captain, Nigel Dixon, Dennis Kellner, Dave Somerville. Over the Hump gang, the big sign here. And there's my brother-in-law, James Nata, DJ Tito. There's Hap, Dave Somerville, Tim Catlow, and a lot more. There's Barbara Ann Demmons, and a few others that can't make it. There was Larry Benvenuti and Nigel doing her little dance.
My husband and I ran the water station at the 4 Mile water station, which was just over the hump. And we'd get up really early in the morning. We'd already have the tables and we'd have the water because it was very organized. And they would let, the minute the workers were allowed to get on the bridge, we had the truck and the crew. Every year we did this. We did it for about 8 years. We had a different crew. We would talk different people into doing it. And they loved it. I mean, you're handing sponges and water to people, and yeah, they're working so hard just to make it to the other end. And usually the weather was great. There was only one time when we did it in a rainstorm, and but everybody was there and they made it. We had another time when the electricity was off. For some reason, our alarms, of course, didn't go off because they were electric. We jumped up just in time. Thank goodness Jimmy had everything ready in the truck. And off we went just in time to get on the bridge and do the water, I called it the water relief. But we did that for quite a few years, and you could literally feel that bridge jumping up and down a little bit when those runners came across. Getting those helpers are the main reason that it works, and they're very dedicated. I can remember one of the pluses with being a volunteer was getting a t-shirt. And we saved those t-shirts and tiles for a long time. When we had the restaurant down on Knights Key, we allowed them to use all of that area for parking because it was so convenient. So if you did anything for the 7 Mile Bridge Run Committee, they rewarded you. But if you were a volunteer, you got that t-shirt, and every year it was a different design and an original. So I still have some. I can't get into them, but I still have them.
So, still plugging along, but boy, am I really feeling it. It was hard getting out of bed the last week or so. And I'm really gonna push along, I'm really gonna try. It's really getting tough.
It's very fun to do the 7 Mile Bridge Run. Like when you finish it, it feels amazing. You are sore, but it feels like you got to have a great experience.
Hi, my name is Don Scotton. I've lived in Marathon since early '69. I have loved this place, and when I came down here, that was it. I never went home. This became my home. There's none of this could have happened. You're interviewing me, but I'm telling you, nothing could have happened had it not been for an awful lot of very nice people. Our families took up, when we got a little tired for it, our families took up right where we left off. And as far as I know, it's as good or better than it has ever been.
Hey, I am fortunate enough to do the 35th annual Bridge Run Pace Car. I'm sorry, Bill, you're a pace truck, I'm the pace car. It's always good to be here. What a great day. And thanks, Cliff, for all your support and your words of wisdom and just being there. Thank you.
I'm Allison Sayer, and I technically married into the 7 Mile Bridge family when I married my husband, Sean. And the more I think about it, I actually think it's harder, well, I definitely know it's harder running as far as organizing this event, like my mother-in-law does and Bobby Bayless does. I think it's harder organizing the event than actually running it. That's for sure. They work on this event year-round. And so I've done both things. I've only volunteered once on the bridge at a water station, which was great fun. And I've run it, I believe this year was my 6th time, and it is not fun. It isn't fun. I hate to run, but the camaraderie and just the partaking in the whole event, taking off and feeling the bridge move a little bit when you first start running. I mean, there's literally nothing like that. Just being around everybody, seeing the person run without his shoes on, seeing the boats go by, seeing the people run in the full fireman outfit. I mean, it's an incredible experience running by, seeing friends you know, but there is nothing quite like finishing that run.
I cannot believe I forced myself out of bed today. This is really just so hard, but I really want to do it. I really want to go through with this. I really want to beat that bus. Not even want, I have to. I have to beat that bus. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how terrible raw eggs taste. I don't care how sleepy I am. I'm gonna do it. I am going to do it.
All that money goes back to our youth programs in the Middle Keys, primarily at our schools. This past year we gave more than $90,000 to our athletic programs and our other programs at school, the Marathon Middle School and Marathon High School and our Stanley Switlick Elementary School.
This is a full-time year-round job for Ginger and all the volunteers. You know, they don't get paid for this. This is something that they do. They've always done. A lot of the volunteers have worked every single race, and there's volunteers lined up to help next year and the year after that can't even get a job volunteering yet.
And we now have enlisted about a dozen of our students from Champions for Change, and they're learning what it means to give back. I had a student yesterday who didn't realize I gave him a ride home, a football player, and asked him if he was going to volunteer. And he said, well, he didn't think he wanted to get up that early. And I said, well, do you realize where football gets most of their money? And he said, no, he didn't realize that. And he said maybe after this he'd be a volunteer.
Hi, I'm Landry Saya. You should try to do the water station because it is really fun. And I'm going to run the 7 Mile Bridge Run next year, and it's really easy.
The 7 Mile Bridge Run, it's a super unique and awesome race. There's a lot of people, and they can all have their own individual goals, such as maybe winning, or they can just beat their time from last year. Personally, my big goal is just to beat my time from last year and try to win, and even if it doesn't happen. And then for others, it's just about beating the bus, which is a great strategy, and it's super fun, very competitive for a lot of people. Like, I heard about this one lady, her name is Frida. She had this great goal of just trying to beat the bus. Do you know if she did?
Maybe she might have. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that if she didn't do it this year, she'll definitely have next year where she can do it.
It's great, yeah. You can keep trying and trying, and that's the great thing about an annual race is that you get to keep trying to beat your goals. It's awesome.
Come on, ladies, get in the bus. You gotta get in the bus now.
I've been told the bridge run is a very different run for the runners because there's no spectators. We're actually the only spectators on the bridge, so when they come by, they can use all the encouragement in the world to keep going.
I've been driving the pace car, I guess about 18 years now, and every year it's one of my favorite things to do. It's always beautiful as the sun comes up and watching the racers, and then at the end we'll be blowing bubbles and encouraging the racers to make it to the finish line, because then they'll just be yards away, so we'll see them at the finish line.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that on the average race we have about 14 spotters up on the bridge.
beginning of the race, they're about one every half a mile, and then towards the end of the race, they're every quarter of a mile or every eighth of a mile looking for runners with medical issues. So we got the bridge pretty well covered. In addition to that, there's paramedics and a lot of other people up there, water crews and all that. So if there's any medical issues, there's usually someone within less than an eighth of a mile to give you assistance.
We have the most wonderful volunteers, people that have been doing it just as long as I have been doing my work on the bridge. They're here every year, even during this year, which we had to deal with COVID. They were so willing to go out on the bridge and hand out water and just stay COVID safe when they were out there. But they come every single year, and we couldn't do the race without them.
You couldn't do anything without the police department who bends over backwards for us. And a lot of those things that could cost us money doesn't cost us any money. I mean, I run a lot of races, and every race that you run, there's got to have some police there, and they all charge money for the race to do the race. And our sheriff's department, they don't charge us anything, and they have people from all over, up and down the Keys to come here. So I tell you, it's really a community effort.
The thing that I noticed the first year after finishing the race, not having participated before, was what a community event it was and how the whole community comes together. There's hundreds of volunteers, hundreds of racers, and it all goes off without a hitch thanks to so many people that put in their time and effort. There's tons of sponsors and vendors and musicians and like I said, that all come together to make it an excellent event. There's awards and there's mementos, and every runner gets a medal and a bag of goodies. And like I've said, it's amazing all the different people and factors and volunteers and runners that come together and make this a great event for Marathon.
What am I doing?
What's going on, Frida?
I don't know if I can do this.
Well, I think you can. You've been training so hard. I've been watching you, and you look like you're doing an amazing job so that you can beat the bus.
Do you really think so?
You don't want to give up now.
I don't want to give up, but it's so hard.
Boy, I tell you what an event today. These people are having a great time. We saw 2 local young men from Marathon get second and third place from our school. What a great program, another running program out here. Pat, what do you think about this race today?
Awesome. My wife and family run every year, and we really enjoyed coming up. I came up early 4:30 this morning to drop them off, and my son came through. My son and daughter-in-law right behind me, and I guess they did a pretty good job. But we really enjoy it. It's a great event for the county, and I think it does great things for the school system, and happy to be a part of it.
Hey, I'm Mike Preble, the General Manager at Keys Fisheries. We are getting the 7 Mile Bridge Run iced up, getting them ready for the run tomorrow morning. We load them up with a couple thousand pounds of ice, make sure all the drinks are cold, participate in the community, and try and be a part of it. We've been involved, I think, since the inception of the race. Always providing ice, we donate drinks, plaques, make sure that everything runs smoothly.
I got involved with the 7 Mile Bridge Run about 25 years ago when I first moved here. And I just love it. I'm an avid runner for many, many, many years, 35 at least. And it's a fantastic, unique run. We actually, as a business, the Cabana Club, have held the volunteer party the day after the run to support all of the volunteers, which there's hundreds of, in order to put this race on. And it's just a fun race. It's not ever anyone's best time. Everyone has a goal of either beat the bus or beat your time for the year before. And it's highly entertaining. There's groups that do themes with tutus or firefighters. It's just really fun to be out there in the middle of the ocean, literally, on this run.
Hi everybody, my name is April Ross and we're here at the Ferro Blanco Resort and Yacht Club. We had the pleasure of being a part of the 7 Mile Bridge Run once again this year. This year we had a smooth sailing drive-through registration. Thank goodness to the fantastic organizers that run the 7 Mile Bridge Run every year. You all did an amazing job. Looking forward to next year as well. The water station was set up amazing. We had fun cheering the bridge runners this year. Not sure how many beat the bus or didn't beat the bus, but no matter what, everybody did a fantastic job. Loved being a part of the 7 Mile Bridge Run this year. I look forward to being a part of it next year. The amazing community that we have and the involvement in watching everybody come together was astonishing this year.
I'm happy to say that I've been assisting and volunteering probably for the last 15 years or so. Our bank, First National Bank of the Florida Keys, originally was the original sponsor, and they sponsored from inception until 2015. So in 2015 was our last year. During the time we sponsored, we gave a monetary donation as well as manned the hump on the bridge and the water station there. And last year, I'm very proud to say that my grandnephew, Colin Wainwright, won the race. So that was very exciting. His second attempt, and he did a great job, so we were really happy for him.
Directly behind us is a 7 Mile Bridge. You can see the hump, which is the 3rd mile of the run. We volunteered at mile marker 46, where we gave out water to all the runners. It was quite a joy, and we look forward to doing it again and rehosting the 41st edition of the 7 Mile Bridge Run.
You know how awesome that was to be on the bridge where there was no cars, only the runners. Everybody was, into that fast forward, yes, I can do it, and we were the ones who actually provided the water for them, splashed them, and they were like on the last mile where it was supposed to be encouraging, and we were right there for them. It was awesome.
I'd like to talk about my first time on the bridge, Alabella's second time, but really not knowing about beating the bus. Like, I didn't know that was a thing until I was actually up there, and I think it was, someone wrote me a letter. Remember, Arthur? Was it Arthur?
I gave them information about Arthur. Yeah. Arthur was doing his last mile, and you were the one who helped him to actually walk through, encourage him. It was his 40th year. He did it every single year, and it's impressive.
Yeah, shout out to Arthur. This was his 40th year doing it, and I got to meet him on the last mile, and I actually walked back with him, and it was quite an honor to spend some time with him. And he sent me a nice note afterwards thanking me, which was neat. We shared it with the team, but we're all about teamwork here at Alabella and Ferro Blanco, and I look forward to seeing you, Arthur, next year.
I was in a running club in Michigan, and my marathon training partner, Carol McLeod, moved down here to Big Pine in December 1992. So she said, well, there's this thing called the 7 Mile Bridge Run. Should I sign you up for it? And I said, sure, I'll come down. So we came to the Buccaneer the night before. It was the pre-party, got our race numbers, and then came back and ran the 7 Mile Bridge Run. 12th annual run in 1993. Well, there was supposed to be an after party at the Buccaneer that evening, but when Carolyn and I got to the bar, the band was leaving. But we said, what the heck, let's just have a little drink at the bar. So we met a few other people, but we saw Larry coming toward us, and I always thank the volunteers for whenever we have a run, we thank the volunteers because they really help make the runs wonderful. So I saw his staff t-shirt, his support t-shirt, and said, thank you so much for whatever you did for the run. And his friends were just leaving. He said, are you going to be sticking around? I'd like to sit down and talk with you. And one of the first questions was, are you from around here? Of course we weren't. And he said, I think you might like scuba diving. Well, little did he know I was scared of the water, but I just smiled and said, yeah, maybe I would. And we started talking, we found out we had things in common. He told me he would like to show me his museum. Now, he was working at Crane Point Hammock at the time, and he was living in the gatehouse. So Carolyn and I said, sure, let's go. And Larry said, I really only wanted to talk to you. And Carolyn said, but that's okay. We're from the big city. We don't go with somebody we just met just to go with them. So I got into Larry's truck, and Carolyn followed us and wrote down his license plate just in case he was up to nefarious things. So he showed us around the museum property, and before we parted, he said, I'd like to see you again, and asked if I would call him the next night if I wanted to see him again. So I did, and the rest is history.
Number 5 last year, coming back, hopefully getting 1 this year. Should be tough, but got a couple competitors that I could go after, but other than that, it should be a good day.
Aiden Child is the first place, is right now in first place, so we'll see. This is going to be an interesting finish here if we get our first teenage runner, marathon runner, finishing first in the 7-mile bridge run. Aiden Child, the first place finisher here for the 7-mile bridge run, time about 40 minutes, 1 second. Aiden, congratulations again.
Thank you. It just I only came 4th last year, so I didn't have a seated number or anything. I just got a normal one. It's okay though.
What do you think is going to happen next year?
Next year I'm getting number 1. I plan to do the same thing next year, just keep the training going. Hopefully, I had like a little injury mid-year, like a month ago, and I've gotten over it though, and it's still feeling good.
So my name is Jonathan Pitchford. I came 2nd this year, and started out the race pretty easy. I was relaxed, hoping to pick it up the second half of the race after the hump. Stuck to that plan, and I was hoping to catch Colin Wainwright, who was in first, and he led the whole way. After the hill, I started putting on a surge, but he did it as well. It was hard to catch, and I tried, but he had a response for everything I had.
My name's Owen Pitchford, and I got 3rd this year. I started the race pretty conservative and just kind of chilled and ran in the back. Saw Jonathan go out, but then once I got up the hump, that's when I started speeding up, and I caught the guy in 4th and moved into 3rd. And then I kind of just steadily picked up from there, trying to get my time faster because I was a bit far behind them. But I ended up PRing by about 3 minutes in this race, so that was good.
Hi, I'm Laura DeBella, a 6-time winner of the 7-mile bridge run, here today at our most lovely bridge, most fabulous and fantastic bridge, to talk about what is the best race in the world, in everyone's opinion, quite frankly. I had the opportunity to enter the race back in 2013. Wasn't training at the time, and I happened to run fairly well, and I came in 4th, female overall, and 1st in my age group. And that inspired me to come back a year later, because I thought to myself, if I could accomplish that with really no training at all, with just a little bit of effort and just applying myself ever so slightly, I could probably come back and win it. And I did. So 14, came in 1st, 15 1st, 16 1st, 17 3rd, 18 1st, 19 1st, and then 2021 1st. The people that put this race on together are the best. The amount of volunteers are just incredible for the size of the race. The support by the local community, just the all-together camaraderie that has evolved over the years of this race is unlike really any other, and the friendships that I have made because of this race are for life. So I come back, sure, because I want to win, but also I come back because I want to see my friends and those that we have a nice reunion every year now to celebrate what is just such a fun event overall, and for an amazing cause. So which is the 7-mile bridge.
I was running purely on adrenaline that day. I'll just tell you that.
So yeah, me and my best friend Rain Banks, the person I ran it with last year, we started and we ran the entire thing together, most of the whole thing. Yeah, we started and the wind was to our backs, which was amazing. I just saw her keep getting further and I was like, okay. So I just kind of like sprinted for like half a mile and I finally caught up to her. And then we just did the rest of the race. I won my age group by about a minute and then she came in about like a minute after me. It wasn't too far apart. But then the person in third behind us, she still ran an amazing time. I'm not sure what her name is. She ran a 58, which is amazing. And I'm pretty sure she was about our same age too. But it was about a 7-minute difference between Rain and her. So it was cool to be able to win by a good margin. I won a little winner's medal and then I also won my first Coral 7, which was amazing to have. It says first on it and it says 2021 on it if you wanted to see it. Yeah.
My name's Jim Murphy. I coach cross country and track at Marathon High School. And I coach 3 of probably the top runners tonight. And it's Aiden Child, Jonathan Pitchford, and Owen Pitchford. And between the 3 of them, it could be any of their race. It's whoever's ready to go today, and they are all ready, so it should be fun to watch.
I've probably done that race about 7 or 8 times. Growing up here, they used to publish the results in our keynoter, and my whole training plan was I could not be last when they put my name in our keynoter. But this year is the first year I've ran it since I had my daughter 7 years ago. And I have learned that I cannot just wing it anymore and I need to get out and train. But I did beat the bus and that was the goal.
Or the 34th one, I was 68 years old. The 34th running. And it was fun to tell everybody that I've spent half my life running this race. Hopefully I make it to 50 of them, but that might be, I don't know, 85 might be pretty tough. I might ask for the bus ride at the very beginning. So, but I'll keep doing it as long as I can, as long as I'm standing. I am struggling and I come to mile 6 marker and everybody's handing water and I'm going, is the bus coming? Is the bus coming? Oh no, you're okay, you're okay. So I keep moving and this good looking tall guy comes up next to me and he introduces himself as Justin from the Isle of Bella. He said, you're not going to catch the bus. He said, I'm going to make sure of it. And he walked me all the way to the finish. It was great. I met him. I sent him a thank you card. We texted each other. I'm going to stop and see him. It was absolutely wonderful. And that's what this is all about down here. Justin, my hero for the 7 Mile Bridge finish. I have to always thank you. Next year you're going to do it.
I am.
And we're going to finish together again.
That was awesome.
So,
that was a lot of fun.
So my name is Mike Bailey, and you may know me as a musician down here in the Keys, but one thing I like to do as much as play my guitar is run the 7 Mile Bridge. And those of you that do run the 7 Mile Bridge race know what one of these is. And those of you that don't, you get one for winning your age group or one of the super age groups, and that's what this one is, and I never go anywhere without it. I've got 5 or 6 of them for everything from beating everybody over 40 to beating everybody over 50 to beating the bus, I guess you could say. And what it is, it's what makes it special is it's black coral, which is something you really can't get. It's not something that you're allowed to go out and collect. So it has a special significance for those of us that get to run this race.
We're out here at the 7 Mile Bridge run today, coaches for Marathon Football, and congrats to the Pitchford twins and Aiden Child, current and former students here who've been doing a really good job the past few years here. 2nd and 3rd for the twins, so MHS putting out great athletes.
They've been, at least for myself, since they've been in middle school, and it's just interesting to see how much they've grown since then, especially Aiden's Child. I mean, he's put on like 50 pounds of muscle. So it's just extraordinary to see how these guys have grown and just continue to do the things that they do. Can't wait to see what the future holds for them.
the work ethic and the time they put into this, and it's really great to see it come to fruition and them do so great in the bridge run. It gets great competition, so it's real nice to see.
6 and 84. That's the ages of the youngest and oldest to finish the bridge without being picked up by the bus. Dave Wilson, who is 84 of Lake Wells, holds a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 51 seconds. And Colin Sayer Coleman, who was 6 at the time, beat his brother Fisher's age by mere months, making him the youngest. Just remember that while you're sitting on your couch.
So originally in 2015, I wasn't a runner, and I trained to be able to run the 7 Mile Bridge for the first time, and the goal at the beginning was just to beat the bus. And I know I'll never win the race, which is fine by me. The thing with running for me is about camaraderie and being out there on the bridge together with locals and visitors alike. Ultimately, I'd like to finish the race in under an hour, but I'm getting closer, so at some point that is my ultimate goal.
I think my favorite memory from the first 7 Mile Bridge run was talking to an older lady right at the start, and she was quite short but had these fabulous looking legs, and she was almost 80 years old. And she told Cindy and Deb and I the story about having run the very first 7 Mile Bridge run. And then she had been doing her best to run the race every single year. And I'll absolutely remember looking at her and saying, well, if my legs can look like your legs when I'm almost 80, I'm gonna keep running this bridge.
The last time I ran it, just for those of you who might think you might not finish, the last time I ran it, I jogged the first 2 miles with everybody, because everybody jogs the first 2 miles. And the rest of it, I walked 100 steps and ran 100 steps, and walked 100 steps and ran 100 steps. And I finished in plenty of time to beat the buses.
Okay, I'm not gonna give up.
No.
I'm not gonna give up.
No, you must
I can
not
do it.
give up.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
And 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, here we go. And
5. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! I can do it.
You did it!
Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Henry Howard. I drive bus for Monroe County School District, and been back here 2 years, but I was born here in Marathon. It was a real experience meeting all the people driving for the 7 Mile run.
Now the saying, beat the bus, started not so much the first year because the bridge hadn't opened to traffic. But once it did, they had a group of school buses following up, and stragglers or people who just couldn't, and they'd make them, had police on the board, and made them get on the bus so they could get the highway open in the regulated amount of time. And that's where the chant, beat the bus, because the bus would make you get on, and there's cops on there to make sure you listen.
And then of course, the name of the piece is beating the bus. There's all those folks at the end that are just trying hard and having a good time running across the 7 Mile Bridge, and what a fantastic place to have a 7 mile run. I mean, my gosh, you watch the sunrise, and just spectacular morning event, and it's been going on for 40 years now.
Beating the bus is usually for the last 1/5 of the people on the bridge. They keep looking over their shoulder and watching for the yellow school buses come, because if they can get to the other end of the bridge before the bus gets there, they get to finish the race. If not, there's a sheriff deputy on the bus that basically makes them get on the bus, and the race is over for them. We have to be off the bridge by 9:00 a.m. to open up the bridge to vehicle traffic, so they don't really have a choice. If they're not within 5 minutes, 10 minutes of 9 o'clock,
they get picked up by the bus, and they're a little bit disappointed, but then they come back again and try next year. And usually the following year they make a comment when they're running by us as spotters, is at least I'm going to beat the bus this year. So it makes everybody happy to be able to beat the bus.
So over the years, I've basically, the second year after I ran it after college and realized that I didn't beat the bus the year before, that I was never going to get on that bus again. And so far, I haven't been on that bus again. But I have been very close. One year, I was 1365 out of 1365 to cross the finish line. So you got to imagine that too, because there's 1,500 people who sign up for this race, and that means there's a significant number, if only 1,365 pass the finish line, that do not pass the finish line. So over the years, there have been stories that I can tell you of pretending that the bus is a bear, and I could either pee my pants or get eaten by the bear, and I decided to pee my pants. And there's stories where the buses come up to me and they've been like, get on the bus. And I'm not a rule breaker in that way. I had timed myself out that I knew it would take me exactly 1 hour and 30 minutes to finish. So I have not finished after that 1 hour and 30 mark. But when she told me to get on the bus and I looked down at my watch and it said that I was gonna finish within 1 hour and 30 minutes, I told her I wasn't gonna get on the bus.
Beating the bus, well, we have a certain amount of time that the bridge can be open. So if the racers haven't made it to certain waypoints, as the time progresses, then the bus will stop and pick them up. And the thing is, you need to beat the bus. And there'll be a lot of runners that will be very upset today when they get picked up by the bus, but there'll be a lot of grateful ones too.
Well, beat the bus is trying to finish before the bus picks them up, because we only can close the bridge for 2 hours. And they only had about an hour and 20 minutes to finish the run. So it's beating the bus, is trying to stay ahead of it, because once the bus reached you, you had to get on.
This is the year we ran backwards like the first run last year. One of the goals of the bridge run is the bridge is only shut for 3 hours maximum. There's a school bus that comes up at the rear. The goal is to make sure you're not picked up on that bus and you make it all the way across the 7 Mile Bridge. It's very important to a lot of people to set a goal and get it done.
It's become legendary. They have T-shirts out at the distribution of the bibs this week. Tomorrow they'll be selling T-shirts of Beat the Bus. So I think it's kind of known, maybe even worldwide, because when you register the online, usually in 11 minutes, like, it's done. And there are people from all over the country, all over the world that come to attend this race and to go over the 7 Mile Bridge.
Nobody wants to be that person, but the bus has to get you.
If you got that on your bucket list and want to finish the 7 Mile Bridge run, you have to beat the bus. If not, then you got to do it again until you beat the bus. So
yeah,
that's
don't count if you get picked up. It does not count.
It don't count if you get picked up by the bus. So you definitely want to beat the bus.
So my first experience was running, of course, and then after the running, when I didn't do the running anymore, I got involved at a water station and eventually became a captain of one of the water stations. And that was the last water station always. So by then these people were a little tired, and so we kept on yelling and cheering for them. We had a big banner say "Beat the Bus," and so encouraging as much as we could.
Well, one of the wonderful runners was Frida, and that lady had a lot of determination, and boy, she was sweating. And she had a good time, though. You could see a smile on her face, no matter how difficult it might have been for the poor lady. But she was determined, and you know, God bless her for having the ambition and the fortitude to make that attempt, going up the hump for one thing, and then coming down too, putting on the brakes. So I don't know if she made it or not, because I was on the hump taking pictures, so I don't know if she made it or not, but I hope she did.
You know what? If anybody could, she could, you know?
Yeah.
One time there was one lady I knew
and she was definitely struggling, and I ran after her and yelled at her, "Beat the bus, keep going!" And she was quite scared when I be running after her, and she looked at me with big eyes, and she took off and finished the run. And the funny part was that I thought like, oh, maybe I scared her too much. She's gonna be angry at me. Later she told me if I wouldn't have yelled at her and encouraged her, she wouldn't have made it.
Remember when we were up on the bridge and we saw that young lady that was struggling a little bit, and we were trying to give her water, and she's like, I gotta do it, I gotta do it.
Yeah, I think her name was Frida.
It was, that's right.
It was. Yeah, she was, yeah, it was tough for her. That's the last mile. I didn't think she was gonna make it.
But she did.
She did. She absolutely did. She beat that bus, yeah.
Beating the bus is quite an achievement. Some folks are up there running, obviously trying to win the race. There's a lot others, which I'm gonna be one of them next year. I just wanna do it and go through the experience, and congrats Frida for making it happen.
Everybody that I know locally that participates in the run, which there's a lot of us that do, have our own personal goals of either beating the bus or beating your time from the year before. Myself, I had a personal goal of, let me show you, winning my, if you win your age group, which I'm not disclosing that, but you actually get a black coral hand-carved 7. The only way you can get this is by winning your age group. That was my silly motivation. I understand there's a young lady in town, I think Frida Bluebell. I really admire her tenacity and her drive to beat the bus. Frida, what I would say to you is just keep doing what you're doing. You will get there, I promise.
So right before I went over the hump around mile 4, I noticed that girl Frida, she looked like she was really struggling. And I let her know that maybe next year, if she doesn't get to beat the bus this year, maybe next year she could train a little bit and get some advice from some local runners. And I'm sure that next year she'll definitely be able to beat the bus. So you have this, Frida.
We know that Frida's been training for a long time to get over the bridge and to beat the bus. I'm not sure what her outcome was last race, this past April, but I hope she was able to do it, and we're all rooting for her to do so. So hopefully she made it without being picked up by the bus.
Frida, you can do this. I believe in you. We all believe in you. This is your race. You do it. You crush it. And I will see you at the finish line.
Everybody that does the bridge run has their own special meaning behind it. Some of them are out to win, like Jonathan and Owen and Mikkel. Some people are out because they just have their own personal goals. Maybe they have done a 3-mile run before. Maybe they have just only walked before. Maybe they just wanted to go across the 7-mile bridge. And then we have those that are part of our community that just run it because that's what they are. They want the t-shirt, they want the medal, they want to get up and go for that walk or run and see that beautiful sunrise and feel the wind. As you run over top of the water, what a more glorious sight to see. But even cooler, there was this lady out there, she was running her heart out. She was there to only beat the bus. That was her entire goal. And I want to know what happened to Miss Frida. I even offered her a glass of water or a cup of water, and she said, no time for that. I've got to beat the bus. What happened to Frida? Did she make it?
Everything went real well until I saw this one lady running, and it was time to get on the bus. You know, it was over, and she said she had to finish. And I was telling the lady to get on the bus. Please, get on the bus. Come on, lady, get in the bus.
I know, I can do it.
You gotta get in the bus now.
I just want to beat the bus.
Get in the bus now, lady.
I just want to beat the bus.
Now there I was playing my guitar with a friend at a local bar. I heard about the big race of the year. Yes, people come from miles around. 7 Mile Bridge, they shut it down. And on the finish line, they're all serving beer. Now the slow ones end up on the bus, the fast ones are victorious, and the others finish somewhere in between. That's when I went and I made the bet. I finished that race without a sweat. End up on the cover of Runner's Magazine. Now one thing still remains a must. Today I gotta beat that bus, even though it just might end up killing me. Yes, part of me says I do regret last night when I made this bet, running 7 miles overseas. Now the race began when we heard the shot. The wind was still and the air was hot. It felt like it was 110 degrees. I was looking pretty good right out of the gate. That's when I started to accelerate. And then I started shouting, look at me. About a half a mile on down the road is when the sweat started to flow. That's when I noticed I was losing speed. Yeah, the alcohol and the toxic waste, it was running on down my face. One by one, runners were passing me. Now one thing still remains a must. Today I gotta beat that bus, even though it just might end up killing me. Yes, a part of me says I do regret last night when I made this bet, running 7 miles overseas. Get it, boys. My body was beat, I wanted to cry. I was huffing and puffing and ready to die. Had nothing left, so I began to pray. When I turned around, I could see that bus closing in and coming for us, picking up all the stragglers along the way.